Alright gamers, today we're going to look at Alubari, a nice cup of tea. Let's check it out. Now before setup, this is a huge board. I mean, there's my hand. This is a huge board. It takes up a lot of space here. What you're going to do is you're going to randomly draw 12 cubes from this nice little cloth bag there. Place them out in the areas that you see available there. Any white cubes that you have will be left out of the bag until you do this, and then once that's done you'll put in these white cubes as well into the bag. You're going to deal out a couple of plantations here at the bottom here. This one's pre-printed on there. They suggest you start with this one, but later on you can use one of these cards to do them. Cards are double-sided too, so there's plenty of options in the game. You'll just shuffle them and flip them over or whatever and just deal them out, determining the amount of players. This is for a 3-player game. If I was doing 4, I'd put one here, and 5, I'd put one there. Each player will start with 2 little meeple workers of their color, plus a third one that will go right over there. Now if you are playing with more than 3 players or 4 players or 5 players, then there are cards they give you in the deck. They're both double-sided for 2 and 5 and 1-player games that you would just lay over those. You do have the train, which represents the first player. This will go to the first player, and it is up for grabs on that tile, which is why I have it right there for right now. You're going to bring out all the little trains there over to the side. Any train that says it comes with chai at the corner there, you will just place 1 green chai cube on it. The rest of them are normal. You have these 2 little cloud tokens you'll just keep there for right now. You have a deck of cards here that you'll shuffle. These are kind of like achievement cards, in-game scoring, and some bonus cards in there. You'll deal out 3 into the deck right there. Also, the last 2 cards, all the cards have emblems on them, whether it's raining, it's sunshiny, or it's a cloudy day. There you go. And if that's the case, you'll put out the little tokens there. So for instance, I had a rainy and then I had a cloudy, or a cloudy and a rainy, so I should switch those up. You'll also take these black markers and you'll put them in the shaded areas on the shovel track, the rail track, and the leaf track right there. And then you are ready to go. Each player is also going to start with little tokens of their color as well, I should say. There are some white tokens that look like Tylenol that you will use later. Do not congest these. Now, if there is a smaller player game, for instance, for less players, you use these to block off certain portions of the board, and the game lets you know that. You're also going to start with one of these little tokens here on the chai track as such, and then you are ready to play. Now, in this game, it's basically just worker placement. You're going to take one of your 2 workers, or 3 if you can unlock him for that round, and you're going to play on one of these cards and take the action. So what do these cards do? Well, the first card here, if you place it here or anywhere on the board, if you place it here on the number 3 spot, you'll be the last to move, but of course you will get to be first player for the next round. Anyway though, on that one it allows you to get 3 of any of these cubes, but only 1 chai at a time. So for instance, I can't go 1, 2, and 3 like that. No, I can only take 1 green cube per turn there, per action. So I could go 1, 2, 3 like that, or probably 1, 2, 3 like so. Now I would remove this green cube from the game and then move my player marker up 1 on the chai track there to indicate I have chai. You won't be keeping the green cubes, but that's what the first action does there. Now chai gives you extra bonuses in each one of your actions in the game, and when you use one, you'll just move down the chai track. So for instance, and there is a maximum you can have for 2 to 4 player game, it'd be 5. For 5 players, it'd be 6 you could have. So what does a chai bonus do for this card? Well, down here it says a chai bonus will give you, allow you to get 2 extra cubes. Of course, during this whole turn, only one of them can be chai, green. The next option here is the B option. This allows you to clear off rubble from the area. You can clear off as much rubble as you see that's on the shovel track. So right now it's at 3. So that means for an action, I can clear off rubble. Now you clear off rubble from the plantations from left to right. So here I would clear off all 3 of these rubble. I would keep this rubble in my possession because I may want to use it later. And then I would use one of my little markers here and mark it as my plantation. Now, on the board, there's a yellow box. You'll see these yellow boxes everywhere. Those count for in-game points there. But now I have a plantation there and I can use. Now, if you didn't complete all of them, like if there was extra I could do, then there'd just be one left. There are ways you can get maybe sometimes 2 of these cleared at a time, and you would put down 2 plantations. So for instance, if I had some chai, I could use my chai and get a +3. So if I use my chai, get a +3, and I could have 2 plantations out there, which would be really nice. And again, I get to keep that rubble. Let me just go over what the other ones are. This one, the C card, lets you convert different things. You convert 3 iron into 1 steel bar. Steel bars are what you're going to need in the game to build the tracks, to lay the tracks out here, and these are the steel bars here. So you would use that to get 1 steel bar, or you could make 2 rubble and turn it into a stone here, or to convert stone into 2 rubble, because yes, even the rubble that you're clearing away can be used as resources in this game. And if you have, and you can do this up to 3 times. Now, if you spend a chai, you can do it unlimited amount of times, and on top of that, any of this iron you could use can be, instead of 3 iron to make a bar, it only costs 2 iron to make a bar. The next one is D, and I'll kind of focus in on these now that I think about it, so you can get a little better look at what the cards look like there. D right here, if I put them in there, I can build track. Now I can build track as many as there are in the on the track marker tracker. So here it says, hey, where's tracks right now? Well, it's at a 1. So I can only build 1 track. But if this ever moves up, I could build 2 track at one time. And of course, to build track, you will need a little, a rail, an iron rail here. And then you would start from the very beginning, which is over here, and build track throughout the entire board. And you'll be going in that order as well. So you start here and start building the track. Whenever you complete that track, you'll put your marker in that area or in that city. You know, if red built here and then they built again later on, then they'd get both of those actions there, and they would get the victory points at the end of the game. Now, for chai, you can build a +2 in whatever the number is. So if red wanted to build 3, they could build 1 there, there, and there. And as you see, you're just building track all the way to get to Darjeeling, which is kind of a timer for the game. If you put out all these markers or get to Darjeeling, then the game will end. Anyways, that's building on the railroad track. The next one over here is that you are, the E section here is you can buy a train or get a building. Buying trains can help you in the game. They can give you victory points. And let me just grab one here. They can give you victory points, as you see here. They do cost iron bars, so most of them cost just 1. Some of them cost 2, but they give you a special ability, which is pre-printed here, very easy to understand. Points at the end of the game, and most, I think all of these give you the opportunity to unlock your 3rd guy, which most times it is chai. You need to spend 1 chai per round to unlock a 3rd guy and have a 3rd action. But however, there is 1 train, you have to spend chai to pay for it. 3 chai, but then only 2 rubble unlocks a worker, so that's kind of neat. The shunter is a neat little train there. Anyway, it's you definitely want to get 1. You may want to get more than 1 train later on to have more than 1 special ability in the game. The trains are really nice. And if the train comes with chai, you'll just remove that green cube and then give yourself an additional chai on the chai track. Now that's buying trains. You want to buy houses. You can only buy houses I say houses, buildings, in these places that are already built. So if it has a marker here, here, or here, and you can always build in this town here, anytime you want, but you have to have the rail has to be out there. So for instance, I couldn't build out here because we haven't reached that city yet when building our rail tracks. But here, as you see, the cost to build these can vary. So looking at just some of the cost here, this one requires 2 stone. And for the next round, hey, you're going to get a worker unlocked and 4 points at the end of the game. This one says, hey, pay 1 steel and you get 2 steel. That's nice. This one says, hey, pay 8 rubble and you put here and it's worth 5 points into the game. Now, as you see, they do different things. Put 1 steel here and get one of the train cards. Put 6 rubble here and you get 4 points into the game, and so on and so forth. So you're paying rubble, stone, steel, just about everything. Sometimes tea leaves as well, which I'll get to in a moment. As you see, the main hometown, they gives you tea leaves. You're paying in tea leaves, but there's sometimes some big victory points there. All right, so that is building there. And I should also mention that when you do clear off all the rubble from all the cards here, then B track becomes pointless, right? Well, then you would replace it with this E track, which is basically just an additional building space. Now, what you can do, the chai bonus here, and the chai bonus is here as well, you can do this again +1. So you can do it, you know, 2 times if you use chai. You can build or buy. Over here is getting one of these cards. What you do is you just select one of those cards from the deck. It could be any one of these here. This one says, hey, immediately convert 2 iron or from your personal 5 for 1 steel bar, once or twice. So you can do that whenever you want to. And man, I want to do that right now because I got 4 of these and that can only get me 1 steel bar here. But if I get this card, I'll get 2 steel bars really quick. So you use that, but then you don't throw it away because then you tap it to the side. This is for in-game victory points. So if I establish 1 rail track, which I can, I'll get 4 victory points. And the harder the goal, the more victory points you'll get. But these are very self-explanatory. You don't want to forget them. Those are huge bonus points at the end of the game. So getting those cards helps. And the last space, the G space, basically is either or. You can get one of these little leaves. Like I said, these leaves count for half a point at the end of the game, but they can also be used to buy some towns there and for other things. And you can actually, or if you want to, you can convert any leaves into chai cubes. So maybe I had maybe 2 leaves to use and I want to convert them. So I go here and I convert them into chai. I can do that. Now, I forgot to mention, what does chai do for the F stage here? What it does, it lets you clear all 3 cards and deal out 3 more cards and choose from them if the 3 cards that are chosen you don't like. Now, at the end of every round, of course, you're going to clear the last one. If none of these were chosen, you're going to clear the last one and then deal out some more like so. So once everyone has taken all of their worker actions, then the game moves into the cleanup phase. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be retrieving your workers. You're going to be dealing out and shuffling those cards. Of course, this one would go in the discard pile. These would all slide down. This one would come up. And the next one's a sun. So I would take the sun token and move everything down. Now, this is where the weather starts to impact the game. If you have cloudy weather, and it tells you on the board here, and let me go and zoom in on this so you can see it. It says, hey, your leaf track goes up 1. So my leaf track, as you see here, would go up 1 space. And I would have to use these 2 cloudy tokens to block a space, a worker place on B and D. So I'll go up, back up here, and on B, I'll cover one of the worker spaces, and these workers would not be here. I'll cover up one of the worker spaces there, and then D, I'll cover up this one as well. So when it's cloudy, it's hard to clear rubble and hard to work. Now, of course, once this one goes away and it's another round, these will slide back in, and another one, it doesn't whatever one the next card is will be put up there. There's 3 discs of each color, so if it's all going to be 3 suns, you can have that option. If it's rainy, well, here's what happens during rain. In the rain season, as you see, shoveling, clearing rubble goes down 1, building rail goes down 1, and leaves go up again. So that's really nice. Now, if it ever needs to go down another one and you can't go down on these tracks, that's fine. They just stay right there. The next one and the last one is the sun. If the sun is there, then you would go up 2 on digging. So now we can build up 4 rubble at one time, and go up 1 on the railroad as well, and then leaves stay the same. Now, if you see right here, it has right here on digging and right here on the leaves, it has a little leaf card. What that means is it would trigger a harvest. And when a harvest is triggered, you will get leaves according, however many are on here. So if it's up here, then you're going to get 2 leaves for every plantation that you own down here. So if this were the case, if we were to strike this early, I would get 4 leaves right there. And as you know, leaves can be converted into chai or allow you to buy some big victory points over there. So harvests are always good. That's why you want the plantations. The other thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to restock the cubes here. What you'll do is you'll restock it up to 12. Remember, any spent orange or gray cubes would go back into this bag, but green cubes would not. Like chai's very hard to get. And if ever you were to draw out a white cube, well, that's going to trigger an event. And then you have the events rondelle in a way here, which I absolutely love. And I'm just going to show you this one real quick. Every time you place one there, you're going to every time you pull a white, you're going to place one around the track like this and take the action. And usually it is, well, just about every time it's bad. Here, what happens here is you're going to clear out rubble from the next 2 areas and place these little white aspirin tokens there. So for instance, if we look at the game board here where all the plantations are, and by the way, those wooden discs, those count for 5 rubble. So if the game says, hey, clear off the next 2 plantations and put these white markers by it, so no one gets those. So that one's gone and that one's cleared, and they are captured by these 2 white. Oh man, that sucks. No one's going to get those plantations now. So the next one, if you were to put, if a white cube goes there, you would go up on the leaf track too, which is kind of good. This one means the white player, the independent player, builds a track for you. But then of course, they're going to claim that track build with this. So for instance, if they were building, let's say this was the next city and it hadn't been built yet, well then a track would automatically be built and white would claim it. So no one could claim that one. So again, not a good thing there. The next one says, hey, if a white cube goes down here, then they're going to build on all the buildings of the lowest city that has unbuilt buildings. Now, it's not talking about the in-town one, Calligraphy Town, or whatever this is called. It's talking about the lowest one on the track, so it'd probably be this one. And let's say that right now, red was the only one to build one there. Well then, if that event struck, then that means white would put all of theirs in those other 3 buildings and block them from other players because they're just out of the game. So again, kind of a bad thing. But you see also here it says, hey, pick up blocks 1, 2, and 3 and throw them back into the bag. All right, so the next one is really bad. For every train card you have to pay for it with a steel bar or 2 chai. If you can't, you're going to lose it. Now this stops people because, like I said, those train cards can be really powerful. They can give you some great bonuses in the game and special abilities in the game. But watch out, because when this event triggers, it's really going to hurt you. Unless you have enough steel or chai to pay for all those cards, you're going to start losing those trains. The next one automatically triggers a tea harvest regardless of whether the tea track is. That's kind of good. And also the white player the independent player will build another rail going. It just basically pushes the game further to the end. And then if it goes here again, if another track goes here, it says, hey, pick up 4, 5, and 6 and put them back into the bag. And then once again, we do those actions. And those events just keep going round and round and round and round throughout the game until the game ends. Of course, the game ends when the railroad track is built to Darjeeling, or one player has put all of their little tokens out on the board. Once that happens, you're going to add up all of the yellow points in the game that you have that have the yellow numbers by them. They have a little score sheet that you can use, but also any of your in-game points that you got from these cards, any of your train points that you have over there, and of course whoever has the most points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, if it has to deal, it's dealing with trains and it's dealing with tea. What do you think? I really enjoy this game. It looks beautiful. It plays pretty quick. We really got used to the turns where we're just popping back and forth. And it's a lot of fun. Now, this is a kind of a remake, reimagine of Snowdonia, a game I've never played before. And I think I looked at it once and said, no, not interested. Maybe it was the theme. I don't know. I don't know the big differences between this and Snowdonia. I hear there are some differences, but it's basically the same game. Either way, I enjoy this theme. I think it's very nice. Now, you know, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of tea. So if you have tea in your game, I'm going to check it out. That's just who I am. And then trains too. Ooh, this is really nice. And so I do enjoy it. I think it's a fun game. The more we play it, the more we enjoy it. There's lots of strategies here, like getting all those trains. A buddy of mine was just plowing straight ahead through that. And then all of a sudden, he had to pay the piper because that event cube came up. And he thought he could get to the end of the game before he'd have to pay up. And he just lost everything at the end. And that was where he was putting a lot of stock in, those in-game points for getting all those trains. So it does penalize you for using that strategy, and I really do like that. I like the rondelle of events thing too. I think that's really cool. So for me, this game is actually worth its money. So if you're interested in getting it, I heavily suggest you do. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, game on.